This movie, I'm really shocked at how good it is. Seriously, just stop this video if you haven't seen the movie yet. Go see Edge of Tomorrow. Seriously, I'm not kidding. Just go see it. If you love sci-fi action movies, if you're a fan of Tom Cruise, if you like video games, if you love video games, then go see this movie. Seriously, has to be the best video game adaptation for a movie, and it's not even based on a video game. In fact, it's based on a manga. I never read the manga, but it's called All You Need Is Kill, and that was supposed to be the original title of this movie, but studio executives were thinking that, we probably shouldn't put that in, probably no one's going to see our movie, even though it turns out that it doesn't matter in the end, which is sad because well, internationally, I think this movie is doing well, but in the United States alone, I don't think it's doing as well as it should. But the movie is still making money, though, but it's not enough. And it saddens me that this movie is really, really good, and not a lot of people are watching it, mostly because they don't like Tom Cruise. And here's the thing, if you don't like Tom Cruise, that's fine, but if you really don't like Tom Cruise, then this movie you have to go watch. You know why? Because he dies a lot. This movie looks gorgeous. Tom Cruise was fantastic. Emily Blunt is a great protagonist in this. And yeah, she's a supporting character, but she holds her own. I mean, seriously, she is so good in this. And I'm excited for her I'm not sure if she's going to be in Dawn of Justice or the Justice League, but she will. It's just a rumor for now, but I heard that she'll be in it. And if she is, hopefully she either plays Mera, since Aquaman was kind of confirmed recently, or Hawkgirl, or let's see, Zatanna, Black Canary. Emily Blunt is great for those roles, and she is kick-ass in this. She wields a Buster Sword, yeah, and she does all these kick-ass flips and turns, and then slice and dices all the aliens, which are called mimics in this movie, and yeah, she is great, fantastic in this one. Bill Paxton, I really want to see more of him, because here, he is great, because, you know Hudson from Aliens? Yeah, he plays that character if he got older. Now I understand why people said that, because it's true. He's basically an adult version of Hudson, and there's this one scene where Tom Cruise is like, wait, you're an American, right? And Bill Paxton replies, hell no, I'm from Kentucky. Bill Paxton is great in this. Before I get into spoilers, I'm just saying the brief stuff that's already shown in the trailers. Tom Cruise gets this ability that he could reset the day every time he dies. So yeah, it is like Groundhog Day, but a little bit different. This feels more like a video game level for a movie, because every time Tom Cruise dies and resets, he has to figure out how to stay alive. So he's like, okay, I can't go this way, so I have to go the other way. So he's trying to figure out how to stay alive, and every time he dies, he resets the day, so he has to do it over and over again. Imagine the movie like the hardest difficulty level for like Call of Duty, or heck, Dark Souls, if Dark Souls has soldiers in mech suits and all that stuff. He reset the day so many times in this, and you lose count because they don't really show all of it, and when he talks about the experiences he has, you kind of wish they showed it, but this movie would have been very long if they did. And I am so glad that every time he resets the day, it doesn't start all the way at the beginning until the point that he gets to. There's a lot of montages, but they're done very, very well. So yeah, remember the montage of Bill Murray trying to kill himself in Groundhog Day? Picture that, except Tom Cruise trying to get better, because when he starts out, he is a coward. Basically, he's just a promotional guy. He wants everyone to join the military. He's just a spokesman. Yes, he's a major, but he's never been in any battles. Heck, he never even worn the suit. So when Tom Cruise has to be called into battle, he is scared shitless because he doesn't know what to do. He keeps asking, how do you turn the safety off, and no one teaches him a thing. He didn't even have any training whatsoever, and then he gets thrust into this battle, and then he just dies, and then he gets this ability, then he resets the day, and then every time he resets the day, he gets better and better and better. He goes from a coward to one of the most badass soldiers on the field. So yeah, this movie is excellent. Just go watch it, seriously. And now I'm gonna get into spoilers. So like I said, go watch it! So the aliens were invading the Earth, and these aliens are very, very interesting. I really like the design of them. In my trailer review, I was worried that these aliens would look too much like the Sentinels from the Matrix trilogy. That's only the tentacle part. When you actually see these things, they are actually frightening, especially on how they move, because every time they have like a couple tentacles coming out of their face or something like that, when they go through, then new tentacles emerge, and then they keep reappearing over and over again. At the end of these things, there are like sharp blades, and the way they turn, they're erratic. They move in unpredictable patterns. They just travel along like a sidewinder, and then just kill off everybody. So yeah, I understand why Tom Cruise is scared shitless, because I would be scared shitless if I see one of those things and I have to kill it. In the beginning of the movie, Tom Cruise wakes up from the helicopter, and then he's about to have a meeting with Brendan Gleeson, who plays General Brigham. And this conversation is pretty hilarious. Brendan Gleeson is talking to Tom Cruise. Oh, we're gonna set off Operation Downfall, which is should be our last stand against these mimics. So he's explained this to Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise is like, okay, sure, no problem. I'll think of a couple promotional ads and all this stuff, and we'll win this war. Brendan Gleeson's like, okay, and you're joining the front line. And then Tom Cruise is like, wait, what? Yeah, Tom Cruise is hilarious in this. His expressions alone just made the movie very good, because he's trying to get out of this situation. He tries so hard to get out of this situation. Brendan Gleeson's like, oh no, you're joining the front lines tomorrow morning. And Tom Cruise is like, I think there's been a mistake. You know, how about this? I'll make a list of people who are better suited at this than me. And Brendan Gleeson's like, nope, don't care, you're signing up for tomorrow. And then Tom Cruise is like, you know, I'm gonna try to blackmail you right now, so if I die, then how is everyone gonna feel about that towards you? So what did Brendan Gleeson do? Okay, you're a deserter. So, Tom Cruise is a major. His name is Cage. I don't know his first name. All I know is that his last name is Cage, so he's Major Cage. So, yeah, he's stripped of his rank, and then he becomes Private Cage. So, Tom Cruise gets knocked out, and then he wakes up again on the camp, and then he meets up with Bill Paxton, and Bill Paxton is great. He plays Master Sergeant Farrell. So, he's giving his speech to Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise is still trying to get out of the everything. Bill Paxton's like, oh, no, you're sticking with us. Don't worry, you'll be on the front lines. You'll be the first wave to attack the mimics. And Tom Cruise is like, oh, come on, man. So morning comes, and everyone's suited up to battle, and Tom Cruise is with this rank. I forgot what crew it is. I think it's a Crew J or something like that. They're supposed to be like the Motley Crew. They have this one guy who's a fat guy, and he doesn't want to go into battle wearing any pants or underwear. So yeah, you see his ass coming out of that mech suit. And, oh yeah, the mech suits. These are awesome. I really love the design of these. Every time the actor wears them, it's like 80 pounds. So, man, especially for Emily Blunt, I think she was pregnant at the time, so that must be very difficult for her. They're like the suits from Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, except I like these ones a bit better, way better than the Elysium one, and I do like the one from Elysium. I thought Elysium was a good movie. And not just that, they kind of remind me of like the prototypes for the Avatar suits. So, yeah, this mech suit looks great. And it gives the feeling of Starship Troopers. And another thing I like about this is that Tom Cruise, usually if you see Tom Cruise in a movie, every time they frame it, especially against actors and actresses that you know are really taller than Tom Cruise, like in Night and Day, which is a terrible, boring movie, but I did like Tom Cruise in it. Cameron Diaz, you know, is tall. Way taller than Tom Cruise, at least. But the way they film it, the way they frame the shot, Tom Cruise is like the exact same height of Cameron Diaz. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. I know Paula Patton is taller than Tom Cruise. And they're almost the same height in the movie. But in here, yeah, he's the shortest one. I mean, the only other person who's his height is basically the woman from his crew, and that's it. Everyone else is much taller than Tom Cruise, and I really love that. It really shows him like a weakling, and yeah, I understand from his position that all he wants to do is live and not get into war, but at the same time, the fact that he tries to snivel his way out and try to blackmail people, sweet talk people and all that stuff, you know, this is a role that I never seen Tom Cruise actually do, so it's refreshing to see this. Picture the role he did for Tropic Thunder is make him into a coward. Yeah, that is great. And you see Tom Cruise in this suit, and he never had training before, right? So he is really getting used to the heaviness of the suit while everyone is already accepting it. But him, every time he hunches over, he looks shorter and shorter than before, and I love that. And yeah, the first thing he asks is, how do I turn the safety off? And no one answers him, so he's like, shit, I am so gonna die. They land in, I don't think it's Normandy, I could be wrong, I'm not sure, it's some part in Europe. So they land, but everything goes wrong. The ship that Tom Cruise was in starts exploding, and then Tom Cruise has to get out, and he miraculously survives that, and the fat guy with his ass hanging out is like, woohoo, we survived! And then he got crushed underneath the ship. And Tom Cruise is like, holy shit! And what is surprising about this scene is that Tom Cruise cannot fire a single bullet, and everyone around him dies. You see people on fire. Emily Blunt shows up, and then she immediately dies. Yeah, she does a kick-ass scene against the mimics, but she just dies immediately. And Tom Cruise is like, holy shit, our best female warrior is dead! She's the Full Metal bitch! We're all gonna die! So Tom Cruise finally meets up with Bill Paxton, but Bill Paxton and the rest of his crew just gets killed off quickly, and Tom Cruise is like the only survivor. So he's even surprised that he survived this long. So he finally got his gun working, and then he shoots down one of the mimics, and he's like, woohoo! I did it! And then another mimic shows up. This one is much bigger and much more like silver and blue. This one is called an alpha. And so Tom Cruise is like, shit, I'm gonna die. So he sees a mine next to him, and the alpha is about to kill him. So Tom Cruise shoots off the mine, which makes the mimic explode, and then you see Tom Cruise's first death. Remember the face melting scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark? Yeah, imagine that is today's special effects and Tom Cruise's face. I cringed at this scene. It's like 20 seconds long, but still, I cringed. I was like, oh my god, that was so nasty. Tom Cruise's face kind of melts off. His hair is just gone. He's completely... And then his face slightly melts off, and he has black eyes and everything, and yeah, it's just disgusting to look at. Oh my god. You don't really see the blood, but you see like black ink all over, so you could just mistake that as blood anyway, but man, it is so gross to see that. Oh! So yeah, his face gets melted off, but some of the blood of the alpha got onto Tom Cruise, and then he gets the ability to reset the day. So after his first death, he wakes up, and then he realizes that everything that he experienced before is happening again. But he's like, wait, is this just a dream? Some kind of deja vu? So he's very confused about this. He hears the same Bill Paxton speech, he sees the crew again, and they say the same lines he already heard the day before. So he gets into the battle, and then everything goes to hell again, and then he lands on the beach, sees the fat guy getting crushed by the ship again, he sees Emily Blunt dying, and then he gets killed off again. Then he wakes up, and then he's like, wait, I'm not crazy, just listen to me, okay? We never met before, but I know who you are, and you're the Asian guy that never speaks, and you know what, I'm gonna tell you, might sound crazy, but here's the truth. So he tells them the truth, and what happens? Bill Paxton has him tied up and taped over his mouth. That was hilarious. And all Tom Cruise is like, get off the ship, it's gonna explode! But it's because he's taped over, it's like, so everything goes to hell again. But Tom Cruise decides to save the fat guy, but what happens? Tom Cruise gets crushed by the ship. Yeah, this film is very funny, yet extremely dark. Most funniest parts is how Tom Cruise dies. And so after this, he realized he's stuck in this time loop, and no matter what he does, he has to figure it out. So he's like, okay, I gotta save the fat guy, but I should not get crushed by the ship. So he keeps getting crushed by a ship a couple of times, but then he finally lives after saving the fat guy, and then he's trying to save Emily Blunt for the first time. So when he's reaching out to Emily Blunt, he gets crushed by a car. Yeah, that was hilarious. There are a bunch of montages in this movie, but they are well done, and they are funny, and they are very entertaining. But yeah, I can understand if some people find that a bit repetitive, but what do you expect about the premise? It's like Groundhog Day, except the whole movie is about resetting the day so he can figure out how to live all this. And you know what? This is a better Prince of Persia movie than Prince of Persia. And I gotta say this about the Prince of Persia movie. It is the best video game adaptation for a movie. I am serious. Yeah, I thought the movie was just decent in the end, and I thought that it was a huge disappointment because I really liked the story of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. With all that said, It is definitely the best video game movie. Until this movie came out, but this cannot be a video game movie since it's not based on a video game. But it should have been. So Tom Cruise finally reaches out to Emily Blunt and then he saves her. But in the process, he gets a hole born into his chest. And yeah, he has a giant hole in his chest. You don't see it, but the reaction from Emily Blunt is priceless. He's like, I can't feel anything. And Emily Blunt replies, you have a hole in your chest. And Tom Cruise is like, really? And you know what Emily Blunt does? She doesn't really thank him. She just takes all his gear and weapons and leaves him there to die. So Tom Cruise is like, what a fucking bitch! So yeah, Tom Cruise gets better and better and better, and then he actually saves Emily Blunt. And what I love about this sequence is that he's shooting at everything like Dante from Devil May Cry 3, forwards, backwards, sideways, and all that stuff without even looking at them. So he's like, so yeah, and Emily Blunt is like, how the hell does he know all this? She put the pieces together and she realizes that Tom Cruise has the power to reset the day. So Emily Blunt tells him, find me when you wake up, and then the ship explodes, killing both Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise. So Tom Cruise wakes up and then he realizes what he has to do. He has to find Emily Blunt because she knows something about his power. What Tom Cruise has to do? Try to escape from the training camp. He tried to escape on his first attempt, and he sees this truck, and then he's like, okay, I gotta roll over the truck and then I'll escape. Well, he misjudged the timing, so he gets crushed by the truck. You don't see him getting crushed, but you hear the sound of him going, ah! And then the bone crunching and all that stuff, and the truck rolling over him. Oh my god, the sound effects in this is great. This movie should be nominated for best sound effects, seriously. And what I love about this is Bill Paxton's reaction to this. He looks back after hearing Tom Cruise scream, and then Bill Paxton's like, what the hell were you thinking, son? And you know what's funny? I almost want to see what happens after Tom Cruise dies. Like, what are their reactions? Because Tom Cruise meets up with Emily Blunt, and then she tells him that he has the power to reset the day, and then they meet up with the scientist friend who's working on this prototype or something like that, and then she tells him how come Tom Cruise has this ability. So it turns out that the alphas have the ability to reset the day, and not just that, all the mimics are based on the hive mind. So this movie really felt like Pacific Rim to me without the giant kaijus versus the giant robots thing, even though it's basically aliens versus mech suits, so it kind of counts. Not really though, but still. So the main power source of these aliens is called the Omega, which is like this flower bud thing, but the design is really like that world you saw in Pacific Rim. So I'm like, I wonder if these two movies were made around the same time, even though this movie came out 1 year after Pacific Rim. So this alien hive mind thing called the Omega, and then every time an alpha dies, its consciousness gets sent back to the Omega, and then the Omega resets the day, and then the alphas know, okay, we can't do this, so we have to go another way. So basically what Tom Cruise is doing. And Tom Cruise is kind of connected to the Omega. The only way he will know where the Omega is that every time he dies, he starts to get glimpses of where the Omega is. So he has to die a lot. So, and Tom Cruise is not really up to this. He doesn't want to die a lot. He knows dying sucks. So in the meantime, Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt has to take over the beach. But Tom Cruise tells her that he's not really fully trained, so Emily Blunt trains him. And then you have this training montage, and it's cut with some very funny dialogue, because Tom Cruise gets really frustrated because he has to fight off these gear-like spinning blade things that act like the mimics because they're very unpredictable, so he has to predict about where they're going to move so he can shoot them and kill them and still live. Tom Cruise keeps failing, and one point where he failed so hard that his back is completely broken and the only thing he could feel is his lips. So Emily Blunt is like, okay, whatever you do, do not bleed out. If you do, then you have to shoot yourself in the head. And because it turns out that Emily Blunt had the ability to reset the day, but the problem was that in one mission she was bleeding out. She couldn't kill herself in time, so she got donated blood or something like that, and then she lost the power. So no matter what happens, Tom Cruise should not bleed out that power. So, and then after this, Emily Blunt just shoots Tom Cruise in the head. And yeah, Emily Blunt shoots Tom Cruise in the head a lot. So yeah, I want to know, how the rest of the day go? Because there are soldiers training around them, so I'm wondering what their reactions is. Are they thinking, holy shit, that crazy bitch just shot that guy in the face? I want to see that reaction though. So every time Tom Cruise gets injured during the training montage, Emily Blunt just shoots him in the head, and every single time Tom Cruise just keeps pleading with her, seriously, no, I'm fine, it's just a broken leg. Oh, no, it's just a broken arm, I can reset myself. Oh, no, I can still walk, even though I can't feel my legs. You know what? Fuck it, just shoot me in the head. So yeah, Tom Cruise is really tired of this bullshit. After the training montage, then he and Emily Blunt has to take the beach. But the problem is that Emily Blunt keeps dying no matter what Tom Cruise does. So it keeps happening. Every single day he meets up with Emily Blunt. Then he sees her dead no matter what happens. So he's like, okay, you have to go left the next time, then right, then up and down. So at one point it sounds like they're doing the Konami code. So it's like up, down, left, right, A, B, blah, blah, blah. So something like that. No matter what happens, she keeps dying, and Tom Cruise is extremely frustrated, and he starts feeling very depressed because he keeps seeing this woman that he does know because he talks with her a lot, just keep dying and dying over and over again, and then he just had it. He had it. He was done. So what does he do? He actually rage quits. He's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not gonna meet up with Emily Blunt. I'm not gonna meet up with these soldiers. I'm gonna escape from camp, and I'm going to a frickin' bar to drink. So he does that, and that was great. But the thing is that he dies anyway because it turns out that the mimics take over London right after the assault on the beach fails. So he's like, shit, no matter what I do, I have to do this anyway. So he gets back to training again. And then after a while, you finally see Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt doing their badass shit, and they are the two best soldiers on the field. She uses her sword to slice and dice and spins around. Tom Cruise uses these like Dr. Octopus like tentacle guns and then shoots missiles at every single mimic, and then he sees Bill Paxton and the gang getting cornered, so he runs around in a circle just shooting everyone in sight, and then a couple mimics he just punches into the ground, and then a couple of them he doesn't even bother to look at them, he just shoots them anyway. So after they finally take over the beach, then they have to steal a car so they could get a chopper and go to the hiding resting spot of the Omega. But the problem is that Emily Blunt keeps dying no matter what, so Tom Cruise is like, no matter what happens, uncouple the trailer, otherwise you die. She doesn't listen to him. That's what I love about it. Or she just totally forgot, something like that. So yeah, Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt escapes. They were about to reach the chopper, but Emily Blunt realizes that Tom Cruise has been in this situation way too many times, and he sees her die way too many times. She turns on the chopper, and Tom Cruise warns her that if you do, you will die no matter what, because the mimics are gonna come for you no matter what. And she's like, why would it matter if I live or not? Seriously, you have the power. You can reset the day. You can win this war. But Tom Cruise doesn't want to see her die. So here's the thing about the romance thing. I understand from Tom Cruise's perspective because he's been with this woman a lot. He knows her middle name and stuff. He knows about her birthplace and everything. He knows a lot about everybody. He knows about Bill Paxton. He knows about all these people in the crew and all that stuff. So yeah, he really feels for these people. And the problem is that every time he resets the day, it's to the beginning, and they never met Tom Cruise before. So yeah, the romance kind of doesn't work because of that, but at the same time, I can respect it because I would understand, because if I met up with this woman who I met like probably 10,000 times, and I've been with her for a lot, I would start to feel for her, you know? But the problem is that you don't really see that much because Emily Blunt just keeps seeing Tom Cruise for the first time. So Emily Blunt dies, Tom Cruise dies, so Tom Cruise is like, you know what? I don't want Emily Blunt to die anymore, so I'm not gonna see her. I'm gonna do this shit on my own, so give me all your fucking guns, all your ammo, all your grenades. I'm gonna take this on. So he does. He kills every single mimic in sight, and then he finally goes to Germany, the dam, so he tries to kill the Omega. But the problem is, the Omega is not there. It turns out it's a trap set off by the Alpha, and what the Alpha does? The Alpha doesn't kill off Tom Cruise. No. The Alpha makes a cut in Tom Cruise so he could bleed out his power, and then the Alpha could kill him. So Tom Cruise realizes that this is all a trap, and the Alpha just wants him to lose his power, so he kills himself by drowning. So then he tells Emily Blunt that no matter what happens, the Omega is going to keep moving because the Omega knows. So the scientists made this prototype thing where it could connect the hive mind of the Omega, but it's just a prototype, and the only person who has it is Brendan Gleeson. So Tom Cruise is like, crap, I gotta meet up with that dickhead again? Fine. So Tom Cruise meets up with Brendan Gleeson, and it's kind of funny because Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt's been in this situation many, many times, because at one point Emily Blunt is getting frustrated, and Tom Cruise is like, whoa, 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 hold on, we need him alive, do not shoot him again. Tom Cruise gets the thing from Brendan Gleeson, but Brendan Gleeson sends the army after Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise uses the machine, and then he knows where the Omega is located. It's located in the Louvre. Yes, the Louvre Museum in Paris. What are the odds? But the problem is that Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt gets a car accident, and Tom Cruise starts bleeding a lot, and then he gets donated blood, and then he lost the power to reset the day. Emily Blunt tries to kill him so they could reset the day, but Tom Cruise tells her that he can't do it anymore, and they're like, shit, we have no choice but to kill this thing in the Louvre. So Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt escapes from the hospital or army medical camp or something like that, and then they meet up with the gang that Tom Cruise was assigned with. So Tom Cruise convinced them to join with him, and then they set off on a final battle at the Louvre. Everyone else dies except for Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, and then there's this kind of boss battle against the Alpha. Emily Blunt sacrifices herself so Tom Cruise can run ahead, go dive underwater, and then destroy the Omega with the grenades. And Tom Cruise does, but he ends up getting killed in the action, and then the Omega dies, all the Alphas are dead, all the mimics don't work anymore, so yep, the Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt saved everyone, and it was the greatest sacrifice ever. But the Omega squirted out so much blood that it absorbed Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise reset the day. Yep, he did. He reset the day. He wakes up in the chopper and is about to meet up with Brendan Gleeson. But everything's changed because the Omega is gone. The mimics are really not working that well, so the humans are able to fight off the mimics, and it is considered a victory. Tom Cruise wasn't stripped of his rank. He's still a major right now, and then he realizes that everything is reset, but the thing is that he doesn't have to go to the camp anymore. He doesn't have to train with the army, so he decides to go to the army base, see what everyone is doing, and then he decides to meet up with Emily Blunt. And because Emily Blunt never met Tom Cruise before, this is really the first time, so Emily Blunt is like, what the hell do you want? And what does Tom Cruise do? He just smiles and was about to say something, and then it's the end. So yeah, a lot of people said that they have a problem with the ending. I was actually okay with the ending. I don't know how it is in the manga. I never read it. I probably will in the future, but for now, I gotta say, I'm okay with the ending. The ending I thought was fine. And yeah, part of me kind of preferred just the sacrifice that Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt did, but at the same time, you know, it's a happy ending. It's not really cheesy or anything. And here's the thing I'm worried about, though. Probably Tom Cruise will get some donated blood or something like that, but Tom Cruise now has the power to reset the day. So that got me thinking. If he dies of old age, does he go back to this day again? That would be a curse. It really would be. Wow, that would be terrible. So probably Tom Cruise knows that he has to, lose his power or something like that. But then again, he absorbed a lot of the Omega's blood, so I don't know how that's going to work. But I'm just glad that this movie will not get a sequel because it ended well. It had a great beginning, had a great middle, had a great end. And yeah, that's what I liked about the movie. The movie is fantastic, great sci-fi action. It's like Starship Troopers meets with Groundhog Day, but in like a video game level that you want to beat but you can't, so there's a rage quit moment. So yeah, this movie is excellent. It's beautiful to look at. The action is intense. The acting is very good. Tom Cruise is great as a coward, and then as he becomes more of the typical action hero we know and love, well, us Tom Cruise fan loves anyway, yeah, that character arc is great. And yeah, I would say the negatives is the romance thing, but then again, I understand from Tom Cruise's point of view because of all the events that he experienced. But the problem is that the audience doesn't really see that. So it comes to us like kind of creepy, but at the same time kind of sad and kind of confusing. So yeah, and Emily Blunt is great. I can't wait to see if she actually plays anyone in Dawn of Justice or the Justice League. So, and Bill Paxton is great. The score was pretty good too, and this was directed very well. And I gotta say, I think the worst film this director did was Jumper, but I did like Jumper though. That's my thoughts on I almost said Oblivion. Sorry. I really like Oblivion, though. Oblivion was great last year. This year, Edge of Tomorrow. And Edge of Tomorrow, I gotta say, is the best movie I've seen this year. I was gonna say it was the Lego movie back in February, but then X-Men Days of Future Past took that. And now is Edge of Tomorrow. And I can't wait to see what else is gonna be good. This year, so far, has a lot of good movies. The only disappointment I had was A Million Ways to Die in the West, but that was it. Anyway, so write down in the comments below if you've seen Edge of Tomorrow. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you a Tom Cruise fan? What is your favorite Tom Cruise movie? I gotta say, mine would either be Minority Report or Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. It's between both of those. But I really like almost every single Tom Cruise movie anyway. And are you looking forward to this movie if you haven't seen it yet? Let me know. Well, guys, until next time, see you later.